Awaken the beast in the mind, I'm looking back at drama. Used to be living in squalor, fighting over a couple dollars. Pray the Lord forgive me, can't afford a pity. So I went and made $250,000, really gave it to mama. By the time I was 24, like mine, but paid my little brother's college. Give a fuck about homage, rather see a couple commas. Fuck Peter Pipe, rather pick paper than a bell pepper. Chest not check, it's been a hot second since I dropped records. But I'm back now, steady killing shit like a bomb in Yemen. Get to stacking bodies, call it double decker. Hit you in the head until you see more stars than the Hubble telescope. In trouble when I go for blood, I let it flow your vein and jugular. I cut and shred your throat, I'm one incredible MC. Yeah, the envy me like a Bentley going 70 MP.
It's against the guild code.
Show stops mid-previously on to confirm that we are, in fact, watching a previously on. Look, if your previously on needs an intermission, it might be too long.
Or you might just have zero attention span and hate previously on segments.
Believing that spinning this fast and the associated nausea will make you a better shooter.
See, the problem with these newer TV Sins videos is that they just say random sentences about the episode and then call it a sin. I mean, why is this a sin? The guy obviously didn't spin in order to improve his aim, so why are you saying this? It doesn't make sense.
It's frankly ridiculous how little the Razor Crest is hit, and even more ridiculous that it survives the few occasions when it does take a direct hit, which is made even more especially ridiculous when the other bounty hunter ship is destroyed with the first shot.
Okay, let's break it down. The Razor Crest in Star Wars canon is a ship that was designed for bounty hunting purposes, and it's therefore very well suited for combat. The other guy's ship is a one-man fighter with less combat capability. With all that being said, this stuff all makes sense in context.
Bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
This version of the I can bring you in dead or alive cliche lacks clarity, and could be misinterpreted as I can bring you in with or without a cardigan.
A whole bunch of bullshit.
This is Mos Eisley Tower.
Yay! Tatooine! Again.
Look, you're complaining about revisiting old planets because you want the Star Wars universe to keep expanding and exploring new locations, and I agree. But the issue is that this show does exactly that. Mando travels to plenty of new places. He comes back to Tatooine because, in terms of the audience, Tatooine is a familiar location to return to.
Seriously though, what are the odds that Mando gets into a fight close enough to a planet that he can crash land on, let alone one that can sustain life, and also just happens to be Tatooine? Forcing again.
So are we claiming that Mando wasn't already going back to Tatooine when he got attacked? My point is that it's not a coincidence because Mando was purposefully going back to Tatooine and got attacked on the way.
You damage one of my droids, you'll pay for it.
Just keep them away from my ship.
Joe has apparently chosen droidist discrimination as the best way to give Mando some edge.
A whole bunch of bullshit.
These maintenance droids are cheating, so not only have they been uselessly programmed with the ability to play a card game, but also how to cheat and the benefits that come with winning.
Discount Jeremy points things out on the screen cliche.
The bounty guild no longer operates from Tatooine.
If you're looking for work, have a seat, my friend.
Mando and Calican both luck out in extraordinary fashion here. Mando manages to get work despite the guild not having a presence on Tatooine, and Calican manages to get a freaking Mandalorian land in his lap to help him with his quest. How long did Calican plan on hanging around? And what would Mando have done if Calican wasn't relying on dumb luck and this bar's reputation to catch Fennec?
I find it funny how you say all of this and then mention the bar's reputation at the very end. The reason both Mando and Calican came to this bar was because of its reputation. Mando knew he'd be able to find someone here, and Calican knew that bounty hunters went to this bar often. None of this is luck.
Think again, Tin Can.
Show has apparently chosen droidist discrimination as the best way to give Calican some edge.
This joke wasn't very funny the first time, and it's even less funny this time.
Fennec Shand is an elite mercenary. If you go after her, you won't make it past sunrise.
You can keep the money, all of it.
Somehow, knowing that he'll get all of an undisclosed bounty instead of half of an undisclosed bounty is enough to convince Mando that catching Fennec is now a thing that can happen.
Right, because it's a lot of fucking money and Mando wants the cash. He is a bounty hunter after all.
What do you expect? Corellia.
I'd Google what Corellia is, but if anyone'd like to give me a hand, that would be great. I'm getting fed up tracking all of this solo.
Ha ha, funny dad puns, but Discount Jeremy is yet again complaining about not understanding something in the Star Wars universe. If you don't understand but are still too lazy to do the research, then you can't really complain about it.
All this speeder bike action really highlights just how much of this episode is a celebration of being in transit.
And why is that a sin? Oh, no explanation? Cool.
I'm not just sinning that these fobs do most of the heavy lifting in the bounty game, like telling you where to go and how close you are, but it's also that it might be more fun to watch Mando track the targets with skill and cunning as opposed to Google Maps.
I'm fairly certain that if the show did what you're suggesting, you'd sin it for spending too much time on tracking.
Hit me in the Beskar. And at that range, Beskar held up.
The statement is redundant, because later on the armor will also hold up at close range.
Okay, but Mando presumably doesn't know that, so he's assuming that the sniper will be able to penetrate his armor at close range.
If you have to remove your signature helmet in order to use your signature weapon, might I suggest that one or both of these two signatures may need rethinking?
She removed the helmet because Mando and Calican are using flares. She wouldn't need to remove it in normal conditions.
Fennec distracts Toro with a throwing knife to the blaster, then has enough time to run and kick said blaster away despite having a f***ing gun. Yes, it's a long-range weapon, but I've played enough video games to know that being no-scoped with a sniper rifle is just as likely to work and 1,000% more infuriating.
Well, you play too many video games because in real life, snipers are usually too cumbersome to use in such close proximity to your target.
It's like one of us has to walk.
Or we could drag you.
He can't really do that because of plot reasons, but it's definitely a viable option, and if the show wasn't going to use it, then it really shouldn't have brought it up.
The reason they can't drag Fennec is because they want to bring her in alive, and dragging her behind a speeder could potentially kill her. As for why they brought it up, not only is that pointless nitpicking, but Mando was also basically just trying to make her shut up by threatening her.
Watch her, and don't let her get near the bike.
There's no reason for Mando to take the risk of leaving Fennec alone with Calican here when the show has gone to great lengths to show us that they're fully capable of walking through sand for extended lengths of time.
Okay, I know that the TV Sins writers have difficulty comprehending the most simple of concepts, but this one is really painful. If they make Fennec walk through the desert, the likelihood of her dying from heat stress or dehydration is incredibly high because they don't have sufficient water supplies to sustain all three of them over that long of a journey.
Bringing you in will make me a full member of the Bounty Hunters Guild.
28-minute episode chooses to repeat information we already have. It's called The Mandalorian, not the over-explain every plot point. Ian.
Jesus Christ. Calican is simply having a conversation with Fennec, and this line specifically is what leads into his betrayal of Mando. My point is that this line was not meant as an explanation for the audience, but rather as the setup for a plot advancement.
If the Mandalorian's worth more than you are, well, who wouldn't want to be a legend?
But also, why doesn't he want Fennec to survive this? Regardless of how much the bounty on Mando is worth, there's still money to be made from taking in Fennec. Take her in, get the bounty, tell them where Mando is, and then boom, double the legendary.
Okay, but that's dumb. Calican wants to bring Mando in himself, not simply lead others to him. With that in mind, taking Fennec in alongside Mando would be incredibly stupid because both of them are super skilled assassins who could easily overpower him.
Also, we're supposed to be rooting for Mando, but he just assumes Fennec is dead without checking, which leads to this scene, which in turn leads to 5 full episodes of Boba Fett.
But earlier you complained about how Fennec should not have survived the blaster shot. So which is it? Should Mando be checking to make sure Fennec is dead because she could reasonably be alive, or should she be dead beyond reasonable doubt?
Look at you. Asleep on the job, old man.
You done?
Yeah, I was just, waking you up. Come on.